Against all odds, Toyota did something we never thought they would. It's the most exciting car to come from Japan in a very long time. It's a turbocharged, all-wheel drive love letter to us enthusiasts. Today on Launch Control, we're taking a deep dive into the absolute engineering masterpiece that is the G16 GTS. Let's get into it. By the late 80s, Toyota had firmly established itself as an absolute automotive juggernaut. They built trucks that were indestructible, sports cars that people actually wanted to buy, luxury cars fit for royalty, and the gold standard of SUVs if you wanted to survive the Australian outback. But perhaps their most important offering, the very reason we even have Toyotas to this day, is Toyota's car for the common person, the Corolla. But how did the grocery getter appliance turn into the fire-breathing, turbocharged son of a rally car that was bred by champions? What started life as the Publica, literally standing for public car in the 1960s, has been reimagined by Gazoo Racing as the middle finger to every enthusiast-hating automotive executive that focuses solely on profits and zero on fun. We all benefit from these cowboys that secretly invest the R&D to build something that trades miles per gallon for smiles per gallon, that trades revenue for fun, and ultimately tricked the money-hungry execs into actually building perhaps the most fun thing on four wheels for the benefit of us, the slowly dying breed of automotive enthusiast. Damn, it feels good to win every once in a while. But to get here, we have to understand the humble beginnings of the Corolla. See, what started life as the Publica was reimagined just a few years later as the KE10. Toyota thought they'd have to rename it to sell it in America. After all, cars here had actual names and not just numbers and letters and figures. And seeing how the Toyota Crown was the flagship, they decided to call their people's car the Little Crown, or directly translated from Latin, Corolla. The Publica used an itty-bitty twin-cylinder 697cc boxer engine capable of a meek 27 brake horsepower. But when they transformed it into the Corolla, the engine grew to nearly 1100 cc's, had two more cylinders, and optional twin carburetors, bringing power all the way up to 72 horsepower at 6,600 RPM. But most importantly, in America anyway, the car got over 30 miles per gallon. The year is 1970. The fuel crisis is right around the corner and people needed more efficient cars. American car makers were left absolutely blindsided. Even their smaller inline sixes weren't super efficient. And there is Toyota, with an affordable, reliable 49 mile per gallon car. That wasn't awful to drive. We could do an entire video on the history of Toyota, and even more specifically the Corolla. If that's something you want to see, let me know down in the comments, and I'll get Brad to start working on it when he's back from his cereal eating competition. But today's video is about the other side of the company, the lesser known history that actually cements Toyota in the enthusiast community. With one word: performance. While the whole world was focused on saving fuel and reducing emissions, Toyota was quietly at work developing cars we all know and love, with names like Levin and Trueno, and trims like the SR5. See, Toyota began competing in the World Rally Championship all the way back in the 60s with the Celica. They started running the smaller, lighter Corollas though in the early 70s. Armed with everything they'd learned from racing and record-smashing sales, Toyota decided it was time to, once again, give new life to the Corolla. So in 1983, they released the E80. It had an all-new chassis, a more angular, boxy design, and thanks to its new transversely mounted 1.6-liter inline-4, it had more usable interior space as well. This year, here in the States anyway, marked the change from rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive. However, Toyota wasn't giving up on the enthusiast market, but with all of the development money already poured into the new front-wheel drive platform, there wasn't a budget left for a hot version. So the engineers grabbed last generation's SR5, installed their all-new ultra-high revving twin-cam 4AGE, revamped the brakes, the suspension, and wrapped it all up in a brand new body. And the legendary AE86 was born. It had cylinder heads developed by Yamaha, made 112 horsepower and 97 pound-feet of torque. It revved to 7,800 RPM and used technologies like a variable geometry intake to boost power, efficiency, and drivability. We could talk about the 4G alone for probably over an hour, but what you need to know is that that engine in that car is maybe solely responsible for popularizing the sport of drifting and all the pop culture that goes along with it, including everyone's favorite manga, Initial D. It was used as a race car everywhere, and people still swap those engines into other models to this day. They're awesome. When the Corolla was replaced for the 6th time, now titled the E90, they introduced for the first time all-wheel drive, and an option for a supercharged 4AGZE, capable of 165 horsepower. But then the enthusiasts lost. With sales at an all-time high, the introduction of the 7th generation E100 would remind us all that at the end of the day, Toyota has to please its shareholders. So this time, the car got slower, fatter, wider, and longer, and was more sharply focused on being the best bang-for-buck economy car in the world, rather than a car that's fast or fun to drive. It had become little more than just an appliance, but people as a whole couldn't buy them fast enough. The Corolla would become the best-selling all-time car in the world in 1997. There was a little glimmer of hope in 2006 when they introduced the Corolla XRS. It used the same 6-speed manual as the Lotus Elise and had a cylinder head developed once again by Yamaha. It was a refined, high-revving 1.8 liter, making 175 horsepower, which was pretty good. That's like last generation Golf GTI territory. But then they killed it off after 1 year. The Corolla went back to simple, reliable transportation. And by 2021, Toyota sold their 50 millionth Corolla. 50 million! So there it is. It's a good, affordable, safe, comfortable economy car. That's how the Corolla is destined to go down in history, until now. Akio Toyoda, grandson to Toyota's founder and Toyota's master driver, is now president of the company. And for him, job number 1 is, and I quote, absolutely prevent the Corolla, especially because it's so widely loved, from being a simple commodity, and bring back a Corolla that captivates our customers. The all-new first ever GR Corolla is coming. It weighs 3,200 pounds, has a new state-of-the-art electronically controlled multi-plate all-wheel drive system, and Torsen limited slip front and rear diffs. It's lighter, lower, stiffer, and a hell of a lot faster than any Corolla to come before it. And at the center of it all, the simply brilliant G16E GTS, a turbocharged 3-cylinder powerhouse. This time around, breathed on again by Gazoo Racing. It has updated, stronger pistons, same with the exhaust valves and valve springs. It uses an integrated ball bearing turbocharger and an all-new exhaust system that reduces back pressure. It makes an even 300 horsepower and a whopping 273 pound-feet of torque at just 3,000 RPM. Truly incredible numbers for a production car that has only a 3-cylinder engine. It uses every ounce of Toyota technology there is. With a relatively high compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, it's still able to handle 23 pounds of boost, and that's before the aftermarket gets their hands on it. It has oil jet cooled pistons and partially CNC machined intake ports, a larger oil cooler, both direct and port injection, hydraulic variable valve timing on both intake and exhaust camshafts, And like all Toyota dynamic force engines, the most recent version of the D4S multi-hole fuel injectors that enable thermal efficiency of over 40%.
3 hours later.
Variable rate oil pump and variable coolant pump as well, and a cylinder head with integrated EGR cooler, high response intake air control, and an updated catalyst. The point I'm trying to make here is that this brilliant little 3-cylinder engine makes the highest specific horsepower per liter ever fitted to a Toyota production car. 100 horsepower per cylinder, or 187.5 horsepower per liter. That's the same as the Bugatti Chiron. It's fantastic. No other 3-cylinder engine currently in production even comes close. And what's more is that it's available in a car as humble as a Corolla. It's hand-built with love in Japan. And we haven't even driven it yet. But it already feels like a love letter to the enthusiast, and puts everyone else in the hot hatch game on notice. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Without you, we wouldn't get to tell these stories, and that would make me sad. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Ideal so you don't miss more content like this that we're pushing every single week here on Ideal. Whether it's a dive into the nuts and bolts of things here on Launch Control, epic car stories and history on Overdrive, things you didn't know you needed to know on Blinker Fluid, or our list videos over on Ideal List. There's something for everyone, so please go check it out. Until next time, this is Trav, and I'll see you all again very soon.